So the first thing I want to tell you about is naturally the way that they see the world, right? Because that horizontal pupil that they have, they see the world in a completely different way than we do, right? And they've learned to use the way that they see the world to communicate without saying anything at all, right? So Ori right here, for example, with her head towards the ground, she gives uh, the appearance of not doing anything in particular. She's eating, right? Well, with a very subtle glance or a tilt of her ear, she can communicate a lot more than what most people give them credit for. But notice also, like, you can't see it here, but when her head is up like this, her eye is horizontal, right? And when she drops her head and goes for grass again, like that, the pupil rotates, and so it stays horizontal, so that she can see pretty good. Actually, she sees better when her head is down like this than when her head is actually up, which is really fascinating. But something else is that her facial expression is a lot more readable when her face is down. So that's why it doesn't seem like they're trying to engage, and most of the time when you're looking at like sheep in the field or something, is because they have a lot more better ability to communicate when they are in this grazing posture than when their heads are up. And we kind of expect, dealing with dogs and cats, that if an animal is engaging with us, the face comes up and they look straight at us, right? Well, that is not the way with sheep. A sheep has that panoramic vision. She can see all the way around her at any given moment. She's got less muscles to control her eye movement than we do, right? And that is because she can see a lot better than we can on a panoramic plane, right? So understanding that is pretty important, because when the sheep's face comes up and you're looking like straight at you, you'll notice that her pupil will look like a square because you're not looking at it on the side from over here. You're looking at it straight like this, and her pupil look like a square. Now, what I've noticed with my sheep is that when they're looking straight at me like that, when they got the ears splayed and they're staring at me like that, they're looking to see if I'm a danger, right? I come on them suddenly and they lift their heads and they turn their ears and their noses toward me, but that doesn't give them the best visual field, right? They're not trying to discern my face when they're looking straight at me. If they see something familiar about me and my presence, like if I call to them, they know my voice very well, they will give me an indicator to show me that they recognize that. And the indicator is that they will turn their faces to the side. It'll appear like they're looking away from me. But the reason they do that is because that side eye, they have better visual detail. They can see better visual detail when they're looking at it from the side, right? So they turn their heads to the side so they can see my face and recognize my facial features when they do that. Now that's a good sign if you're approaching any sheep. If the sheep is willing to turn its face to the side and ignore you, kind of thing, it's trying to get trying to recognize to see if it can communicate with you, right? That's almost like a key to engage in conversation. If the animal does recognize you, the next key I would look for would it be to turn its face to the other side. Because when we're talking familial connections, like really close relationships, there will be, it'll look at you with one eye, and then she'll turn you, look at you with the other eye. That is usually preceded before they start walking towards you, as you're somebody familiar, you're somebody I love, and they're coming towards you. So that indicator, recognition, can be used to speak back to them, right? So, for example, if I'm approaching my sheep and they stop and they get their ears splayed, to look at me, what I would do is I'd stop everything in my motion, stand erect, and I would turn my face to the side. And sure, I can't see them. They don't. I don't have the panoramic vision. They do, but I don't. It looks like I'm disengaging them, and that gives them comfort and reassurance instantaneously. I've been able to do that with wild animals, and it responds like bison. I've actually used that on the bison before, and it calms them down a minute. Okay, so it is an engagement. It's an invitation to engage and to communicate. So that's something you should look for when you're talking to your sheep. Is that turning the face to the side, giving you that side eye, is an invitation to communicate. Okay, that's the first principle.